Ross, obviously change coming to college athletics, and you said it best though, two things are going to stay the same. Kids are going to go to school and they're going to play games.
I think that's the important thing, right? The fundamentals of what we do are not going to change, right? We're going to educate young men and women in our programs. We're going to have fun playing the games. The games are what make it fun. All the hard work that these young people put into the program, that's kind of the culmination is game day. But everything in between, like we talked about, is all changing. And so we have to adapt, we have to evolve. There's legal things in our forefront, all those things. So just the ability to be at Ohio State, to be on the leading edge of all of this, we're always going to be on the right side of the equation, for sure. But all these changes are just, they're monumental. There's no one other way to say it other than this is transformational, monumental, just a new day in college athletics.
All right, help us understand for the average fan out there, the Haas settlement allows colleges now to pay $20.5 million. You're going to give $18 million to 4 sports, football, men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball. Explain to the fans how that will work. How will those kids get paid, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you laid it out perfectly. And so we'll have it's a revenue share cap based on institutional NIL that we will basically be allowed to pay them directly above and beyond their scholarship. And so how they'll get paid is really just through the institution. We'll pay them basically through a memo of understanding. There'll be a payment schedule depending on the structure of the athlete. And so we'll be able to start distributing that on July the 1st of this year based on the court case settlement.
How do you determine who gets what, though?
Yeah, each sport, the 4 sports you mentioned, will have an allocation. So that's already been determined. They're already working with those numbers. And then each coach will decide how they want to do it. We mentioned a Supermax model like the NBA does. Does a program want to go all in on 4 people? Maybe that's basketball. Maybe that's women's volleyball. Or does football want to go all in on 25 to 30 of the players? That's up to the coach. That's up to their recruiting staff. That's up to the recruiting process. That's up to negotiation with the player or representation. So all of that will be decided in the process. But we'll give them one upfront number. How they spend it will be totally up to the coach and the staff.
Now, beyond that, there's still the NIL world. Buckeye Sports Group will help navigate those waters for the athletes, but it's all got to go through there are rules now, right?
There are rules, and that's unfortunate about the last 4 years, 5 years, is that there really hasn't been a whole lot of oversight, and it's led to a lot of false markets. It's led to the collective world kind of being, somewhat out of control. We don't mind anybody receiving, fair compensation, but what this will do, Buckeye Sports Group, the important message really to people in Columbus, people in Ohio, is if you own a business and you want to promote through Ohio State athletics, we have the perfect setup. We have a lot of businesses already doing that, but in this new world, they can actually take an athlete profile and say, they can help grow my business. They can help do a commercial. They can help make an appearance. We've seen some of that in different spots. But outside of the revenue share that they'll get from the institution, this is the way for donors, this is the way for businesses to engage with our athletes really like never before. And we'll be able to promote our female athletes because the collective world has been male dominated. We'll be able to promote our female athletes like never before, and that's part of what we have to do anyway. And so it just creates a whole new world that I think businesses will enjoy, athletes will enjoy, and it provides them with resources and the opportunity to expose themselves. We're standing in front of the college game day wall right here. This is what Buckeye Nation is all about, is we have the biggest platform, and so this allows us to maximize that.
How will it work, I guess, and you said it best when you came here, football's king. How will it work? Is there going to be rules as far as like how much a superstar player in college can make now?
So as far as the institutional payment, that'll be up, again, to the coaching staff. That'll be up to that conversation. As far as third-party NIL, there's not a cap. However, each deal, so they do a deal with, Huntington Bank is a great partner here in Columbus. If they do a deal with Huntington Bank, they will submit a contract, and they'll say, I have to make 10 appearances, and in exchange, I get X amount of dollars. That will have to go through a clearinghouse, and they'll look at Okay, how many social media followers does that athlete have? How good of a player are they? What's the profile of the Ohio State program? How many times are we on TV? What's the viewer? There'll be a ton of metrics, and they'll say, okay, that deal's worth that amount. Or they'll say, hey, that deal is worth a range of compensation that's maybe less. Sometimes they may come back and say it's more, and then the athlete can go back and have some data to renegotiate. And then if it's less, the athlete will have a choice. They can resubmit the deal, or they can go through an arbitration process, and they can kind of argue it out with an arbitrator. So we've never had that system. We've never lived in that world, especially the last 4 years. We've never lived in that world in the history of college athletics. So all of this is new. We have to educate our athletes. There's a lot to learn, but that's really how the process is going to unfold.
You know, Charlie Baker, who heads up the NCAA, said the future looks better with choices versus bankruptcy, and that's where this was headed.
Yeah, because if you would not have settled, and if you would have only looked at the back damages, what happens in antitrust cases, again, I'm not an attorney, but there's a lot of legal stuff in here, is that once a damage number is set, it gets tripled. So if you would have went to court and lost, and the damages would have been $2.8 billion, in that process it would have been tripled. So that would have led to the bankruptcy conversation. That would have led to a lot of sports being eliminated. That may have led to the NCAA, going bankrupt. That may have led to universities having to shut down. I mean, we're seeing a lot of challenges in higher ed outside of athletics from a funding model standpoint. If the institutions had to pay this back damage money of $6, $7, $8 billion, would have been a whole different environment. So this provides us clarity by settling this lawsuit. 36
sports at Ohio State, and you were very clear that's not going anywhere. There's going to be 36 sports.
That's important. That's not only a point of pride, but it's the right thing to do. It supports a broad-based, excellence, program for our athletes. Look, there's legal things that would be really, really challenging if we wanted to go down that path. So just a lot of analysis that went into that. A lot of this started before I got here. Our board has been supportive. President Carter has been supportive. That we want to maintain a broad-based program, and so protecting 36. But again, how we spend our money can look different. That fundamental, how we started, go to class, play games. The economics can look a little bit different. So we've gone through that. We're still going to have to, go through an evolution of that. But 36 is really kind of what defines Ohio State. But knowing that football is the gold standard, that will always be at the top, and we have to make sure that's a priority. And then that can funnel out to the rest of our sports.
You got a lot on your plate, and obviously college football, everybody loves it. The playoff is 12. Are we going to 14? Are we going to 16, do you think?
Look, I'm a proponent of expansion. Again, I think, these players walking the hallways around us, they want to play games, they want to play at the highest level, they want to compete for a championship. Again, we could probably be okay with a 14 playoff, and we're going to be okay. But I think for the good of the game, it's the right thing to do. It's more content, it's more value to the ecosystem and all of this. So 14 or 16, I'm okay with. How we get the spots, that's the debate. Is it the committee? Is it automatic qualifying? What does that look like? That's where we're kind of getting stuck. So I think we need to kind of take a step back. We need to be patient. There needs to be uniformity a little bit around scheduling. So those are all the things that have to play out. But expansion should happen just because college football has never been more popular. So let's capitalize on that and showcase these players at the highest level.
I go back to what you said. They're going to go to school. They're going to play games. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and this is all new, right?
Progress over perfection. That's been a phrase that we've all used. There will be. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be uncertainty. There's going to be, hey, this program's doing this, and why can't we do that? I mean, we're going to see a lot of those, iterations. But at the end of the day, everybody says they want rules, they want enforcement, they want clarity, they want structure. The athletes want structure. This provides that. So now we just have to go, and we have to embrace it, and that's what we're all doing.
Last thing, and I know you probably hear from people once in a while.
A few times.
Noon kickoffs, and you've been pretty vocal about it, and obviously I think you're the first one to admit you'd love to see Texas and Ohio State playing at night.
You know, it's look, it's part of the process. We went through it. We were disappointed it didn't work out. I think our fans, again, the atmosphere, all of those things, it was deserving of a night game, the magnitude of that game. But again, the contracts are very rigid. So the flexibility is just not built in there. So can we get that into the future? But look, either way, it's going to be electric. People are going to show up. It may be hot. That's okay. It's football. It's August. So let's embrace what we have, but also work on the future of saying there's got to be more balance. There's got to be more flexibility. And look, there's sometimes we love a noon game. We love playing at Penn State on the road at noon, right? That was to our advantage. So, look, it can go both ways, but overall, these high-profile early season games, you know, a night game would have been powerful. But I know Buckeye Nation will show up. It'll be big time.
And I don't know if you knew this, but you guys have been picked to repeat as national title champions.
If again, the guys and coaches walking these hallways, they don't care about that. They're working. You know, we've taken down some things to celebrate the national championship because they want to focus on their identity. So you would not know that by walking these halls. So that's the really cool thing about our culture. So we're not worried about that. Let's just go play.